Hello everyone, this is Ana Almeida. Today I'm gonna explain about filtration units and how we choose the right filtration systems for our home using a case study I developed with arsenic in drinking water. I live in Italy in a region called Tuscia, more specifically in a city called Viterbo, and we have geological high levels of a number of compounds in our drinking water sources. One of the issues I encountered when I moved to Viterbo is that the arsenic is quite limit. It goes quite in the limit of the drinking water directive, which is 10 microgram per liter. Arsenic is a known carcinogen, and it does cause chronic exposure problems for our health. And I don't like to drink water that has levels that are so close to the directive, which are really, very basic. If you are trying to produce very high quality drinking water, the drinking water directive is perfect. It has a lot of studies that go behind. There is a lot of science, there is a lot of knowledge that go in that directive, but I don't like the fact that we are drinking water at home that has a level of arsenic so close to the directive. In fact, most people in Italy use bottled water, not only in my region, but in Italy in general, because they don't like the taste and they don't like the perception of the drinking water and how the tap water tastes. And this is really a problem from a circular economy point of view, plastic waste. It's very complicated. So of course, being somebody that has a background in water sciences and environmental sciences, I cannot not try to find a solution that's more ecological. So we had the option to source companies within Italy, which I found very good, but for many different reasons, I decided not to buy an expensive system right now. I was a bit skeptical about why a filter would perform better just because it was Italian, or I wasn't extremely convinced on the price tag that I was getting here. And also because we are renting and we are moving our house situation, I didn't want to invest in a filtration system that I wasn't sure about. Because of course a company can claim to you that they are doing wonders for your water, but at the end of the day, what really tells you the story is a test result. And that's what I did. I installed this system here, which is from Water Drop. I'm gonna leave you the model below so that you can see the system. I don't think it works because we did testing in our water. First of all, one of the problems I had, the system is very easy to install, and Water Drop has many different combinations of these devices. You can have, they have a number of certifications such as NSFI. They are quite thorough on this. But you see, the problem with installing a filter in your house is that we know very little from our income water. So we get water from one of the reservoirs around Viterbo, but we don't really know, or we, as I say, we as consumers, we never know really as how a filter is gonna perform unless you test it, unless you know what that filter was developed to do. What happened to us here was that reverse osmosis, they strip, these filters are very capable to remove everything that's in the water, including salts, and it alters the pH of the water. I never thought that it was going to be so dramatic, the change, because our income water here, our tap water, is quite acidic. It has a pH that is in the lowest level of the drinking water directive, which is 6.5. And what happened is that after I put the filter, because my water was acidic, I got very, very acidic water. So it tasted strangely like metal. I don't know why. It could have caused an imbalance of the physical chemical features of the water. So the and potentially leaching something inside the plastic fittings, or I don't know what happened. I would need a lab to pinpoint, but I knew the taste was off, and strangely, or not strangely, the arsenic was below detection level, so it was 10 in the inlet after the filter was 0, because the mass spec could not detect the arsenic. But then I got acidic water, so I tried to contact the manufacturer. I tried different things, and I couldn't find a solution. So I needed a device that was more flexible to the type of income water I have. So I did some polls here on LinkedIn and asked people, what do you think? But the problem is, when you remineralize, you add salts back into the water, you wouldn't be sorting the problem, you would just compounding it, because if the water has an acidic pH and it's stripping something from the fittings in the way to your glass, there's nothing that a remineralization filter is going to do about it, apart from adding salts. And maybe the taste would be a bit better, but the potential chemical issues would remain. So I really had no option. And my solution now is I will keep with my bottled water. So I use glass, which is very tedious, but we know that we will have to source a company that doesn't have the same issues with the pH. So I probably need a reverse osmosis filter to remove the arsenic that I don't like, that I don't feel safe with, but with a filter that's more kind, that's not so strong, that's more suitable for the income water. And this is my learning from this case study. So I spent about 200 euros in testing between the inlet and the outlet. The microbiology at the end was fine, which is important, because when you put a filter in your house, you're removing residual chlorine from the tap water, and this could cause, upon storage, microbiological issues, because bacteria, they like growing in pipes and water, and if there is no disinfectant, they will surely grow. But we didn't observe that here, but the system was not installed for a long time. The problem with these filters is because they are installed in the sink, the sink of the kitchen, so they have this kind of configuration in which, I think you can see here, there's a top. You are manipulating food in that bench top, and of course, if there is a cross-contamination in which your top gets food or meat or whatever left over, that could be an issue. So I am not entirely convinced this is the best setup for a filter. I know it works, and that's why so many people use it here. There are companies that do sell the systems here, but I do think it's never easy to have systems at home, and they have to be very well maintained. It's not only about the hygiene of the filter and the time life of that filter, in which you have to replace according to what the manufacturers say, but you also have to make sure the fittings and all the outlets of the filter are kept clean, are hygienized according to the manuals. So drinking water is so taken for granted, and we don't realize how difficult it is to correct for chemical and microbiological problems in our water. And then we blame people for buying bottled water, but if it was easy, or if your company had a better solution that was easier, that was more adaptable, I'm sure you would get more clients. And this is my problem is quite complicated. Arsenic, it's a metal. It's very difficult to remove. It doesn't work with a normal carbon filter. It has to be an advanced system, an advanced filtration, and people don't want to drink this stuff in water, and they end up buying expensive solutions for a reason. But more and more, I do think we don't have enough marketing explanations to tell consumers how to buy these products, how to use them. Look at I have a PhD in drinking water microbiology and chemical contamination. I've worked for many companies. This is my bread and butter, you can say, and I had difficulty in sorting this problem, figure out normal people that don't have this chemistry biology background, what they go through, they end up buying the bottles. That's the reality. So yeah, if you're working in this field, if you need a hand, I will keep you updated on how my filtration system is gonna be, the solution I'm gonna find for my situation here in Tuscia, in Viterbo. But the pleasure showing you this, sharing a bit of this knowledge. And I'm sorry, water drop, but you did not sort my problem, and you get a refund. I'm gonna send you this back tomorrow. Bye guys, thanks for watching.